there we go. It's a 4 years ago. So Georgia. I don't know much about Georgia to be other than, of course, the pretty obvious history, but I would love to learn. Wasn't well, you know what? I'm not gonna make any
let's
comments.
learn about Georgia. No, Georgia.
Georgia, the country.
History of Georgia. Famous people from Georgia.
Sakartvelo.
Got it.
It's time to learn geography.
Now! Hey everyone, I'm your host Barbie. You have no idea how frustrating it is for these people to explain who and where they are from. We have reached our last country in the Caucasus region, and we're going to have a lot of fun
Mountains?
because this place is so
Okay.
incredibly unknown and so incredibly interesting. Welcome
It's
to
a
the
lot
land
confusion
of
with the
wolves.
state of Georgia, for sure.
Now, ask a random person on the street where Georgia is on a map.
What are
80%
those
of them
yellow-
won't know, 19.3% of them will point to this, and the remaining
Yeah.
0.7% might get it right. For the 99.3% of you normies out there, Georgia is the northernmost Caucasus country located in this quarter slip of land nuzzled between the Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, below eastern Russia, with Turkey and Armenia and Azerbaijan to the south and east. Now, here's where the geographical dilemma commences. Is Georgia in Europe or Asia? Some will argue that it stands east of Turkey, which is kind of seen as like the gateway to Asia, but culturally, it identifies closer with Europe. Ultimately, I guess you can conclude that it's kind of like both in one. It's a bunch of white people in Asia. Or
Yeah, I don't know what I would say to that. I would say Georgia is part of Europe, yeah, culturally at least, but geographically, yeah, probably, yeah. Let's say Georgia is part of Asia, you know? Fuck it.
Or Caucasians.
Or Caucasian.
quick side note, the origin of their name, Georgia, is kind of disputed. Some will say that it has to do with Saint George, their patron saint. Others will say that it came from the Greeks. And the
Those
word
yellow
Georgios,
territories are
which means
territories
tiller
that
of the land,
declared
since the land was
independence
so
from
fertile.
Georgia
A lot of
and
scholars
with
might say it
Russian
comes from
help.
the Persian word gur,
Oh, damn.
or Gurgen, meaning wolf, hence land
I
of
hope
the
he talks
wolves.
about that.
I mean, that name does sound pretty cool. I mean, if I was a scholar, I'd probably discredit all the other claims in favor of that one. Nonetheless, Georgians call their own country Sakartvelo, or the land of the Kartvelians, which is another word for Georgians. Now, this is going to be my favorite part because you know me. Incredibly
we
complicated
consider ourselves
administrative division
European.
time.
Yeah,
Georgia is a candy
that's-
shop loaded with territorial anomalies. First of all, if you go to Georgia and look at a
It's kind of like, for example, Argentina or Uruguay. Those places aren't physically located in Europe, but culturally they align with Europe. So yeah, you know, congrats Georgia, you're European.
Georgia that they have drawn out
The flag of
themselves,
Georgia
you'll
is
get
really
something that
cool
looks like
looking.
this. A country
I
divided
agree,
into what
yeah.
looks like 11 regions and one city, the capital, Tbilisi. Yeah, I know, it looks like Tbilisi. It's
Tbilisi.
However, it's more like
Tbilisi.
10-ish regions
Alright.
and 2 autonomous republics, one of which cuts through parts of 4 of the regions. These
Yeah,
republics
what's up
are
with that?
Abkhazia and, be careful what you call the second one, most people outside of Georgia will refer to it as South Ossetia, but in Georgian,
Abkhazia.
it's called Samachablo, or the Skinbali region. In the simplest way I can put this, these regions came about through a complicated history.
I think I've
that
heard
involved
that.
Independence from the USSR, and then support from Russia after the USSR. Technically, these are, at least considered by most in the international community, autonomous breakaway regions of Georgia. That
Oh,
kinda govern
little
themselves, but are kind of
rebellious
heavily
regions,
influenced by
huh?
Russia as well. To this day, Russia, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and for some reason, Nauru are the only fully sovereign countries that
Yeah, what's
recognize
up with
Abkhazia
that?
and South Ossetia as independent nations. Travel between these two breakaway states
Don't worry,
is still
Georgia.
possible, though. It's
Here in
just way
Mexico,
more
we
difficult
got
for
you.
Georgians to enter the regions than it is for Ossetians and Abkhazians to get into Georgia. Whew! So anyway, aside from all that, Georgia is an incredibly
Yo, that's
vivacious and
messy,
rustic
man.
little fine nook hidden away in the mountains, hard to get to. Like Rivendell. The country is laden with enigmatic castles and centuries-old stony fortresses and archways. Like Rivendell. As well as an abundance
Abjasia.
of monuments and statues with the curiously fascinating
pronounced
curvy,
in
wispy
Spanish
script
as
written all over it. This is
Abjasia.
freaking me out. No, but seriously, Georgia is a very rock and stone type of country. They love rocks. The largest cities and airports are, of course, in the capital, Tbilisi, Kutaisi, and Batumi. Tbilisi is a bustling city with the stone and mortar Nadikara fortress looming above on a hill. Batumi, though, is kind of like the fun city on the Black Sea with a more youthful flair and bold, sharp, dynamic architecture. All adjacent to the famous Batumi stone beaches.
A lot of the
I'll tell you,
countries in the Caucasus have some beautiful architecture, really modern architecture, like really beautiful buildings combined with no, the J is like in Juan, so Abkhazia, is that what it is?
They love stones. Some notable sites would include places like the Gori Fortress,
I don't know,
with
bro, it's
statues of the 8
hard.
warriors, or the Katsuki Pillar, a limestone monolith with a single church on top, only accessible by climbing. And finally, castles,
Alright,
castles,
well,
castles, everywhere you go. Notable ones like
that's an
Rabati,
interesting
Kinkani,
monument.
Aspinza, and Ninos Minda, all of which are made of, you guessed it, stones. There's more to this country than just stones, I promise. All right, let's discuss
Do you
that.
speak Spanish, my man, or
Well, as
Okay,
you may have already
Abkhazia.
figured,
All right,
Georgia
all
is
right.
quite
Got it.
mountainous
Got
with an
it.
expanse of incredibly diverse, conveniently located hills and valleys. The reason why it's so convenient
Yeah.
is because the entire country is pretty much nestled between the greater and lesser Caucasus Mountains, which protects it from the blistering cold air masses that
Of
pummel
Russia,
southern
yeah.
Russia, yet it also barricades against
From
the
the
hot and dry
deserts, yeah.
streams that penetrate from the south.
Oh,
This means
shit.
that they have overall pretty comfortable weather and just the right amount of rainfall and sunshine. The mighty Kura or Mtkvari is the
Damn,
longest
y'all
river
got it
that
good.
flows upward
Y'all
and
got some
arches
good
south
weather.
into the areas through Tbilisi, and the highest mountain and third highest in Europe, if you consider Georgia part of Europe, Mount Sakhara, located in the north along the Caucasus. Concealed within the hills lies the Yavkheti volcanic plateau and the southern Georgia volcanic highland. These are some rather unstable geological regions that will produce hot springs, mineral water, and seismic activity. And of course, caves.
That's
So many
great.
of them here. You have the still yet to be completely explored Meluri cave in Imereti with waterfalls, the Prometheus cave that Greeks claim to be the spot where Prometheus was chained to his rock in Greek mythology. Greeks have a history of diaspora in Georgia since like the 7th century. But the most famous cave would probably be the
Yeah,
Krummera
yeah, the
cave,
Greek
found in
people
Abkhazia,
arrived to the
otherwise known as
Caucasus
the world's deepest
via
cave
Turkey.
that goes further than 2,000 meters down. Rapid fire round, you may also want to see the Abasha waterfalls, Martvili Canyon, Crybaby Mountain because it rains there almost the entire year, the incredibly beautiful Blue Lake in Abkhazia with peacocks around it for some reason.
Which
Speaking
is
of animals, I might
Abkhazia
say
in
that
Spanish.
unofficially, the national animal might be the wolf. The Caucasus region has some of the highest quality of soil in the world in terms of land usage. Georgia has one of the oldest and finest winemaking traditions that go back as far as 300 BC. Otherwise, Georgia has been a hub for mineral mining and petroleum extraction. They share a pipeline that goes through Turkey into Azerbaijan. The national dish would have to be khachpuri, or unofficially referred to
Ooh.
as Georgian pizza. A decadent soft
Damn,
bread
that
baked
looks
with
good.
melted cheese, sometimes
Oh
served with
my
eggs
God.
and other ingredients often baked in. They love
Bruh.
cheese. They have so many different kinds, from the salty, briny sulguni
That looks
to the weird,
amazing,
stringy
dude.
tanili. They even have a dish where they put cheese inside of cheese. Basically, all you have to know is that when it comes to Georgian cooking, they love
They put
cherry
cheese
plums and
inside
carrot.
it. All
That's
right,
like their
well.
go-tos. All right, enough about food. Let's talk about the people that eat those foods.
The Georgians. What
Now,
about
if you
the
thought pointing out
Georgians?
Georgia on a map was difficult, try explaining what a Georgian person is. First
Ooh.
of all, one broader term you could use to refer to someone who is ethnically
Caucasian?
Georgian would be Kartvelian.
Kartvelian,
which
all
encapsulates
right,
all
well.
the ethno-linguistic groups found in Georgia. If you include Abkhazia
Actually, we're pretty much the ones to invent wine. The oldest traces of wine are found here. That's very interesting, especially as a wine lover myself.
in South Ossetia, the country has about 4.8 million people and is currently attempting a population rebound after losing about 1 million people in the past 20 years due to migration.
shit.
The country is made up of about 87% ethnic
Georgians.
or Kartvelians, 6% Azerbaijani, and
Like
Azeri,
Russians
5%
and-
Armenians, and the rest are made up of other groups like Greeks, Russians, and Ossetians. They also use the Georgian lari as their currency. They use the C and F plug outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road. The most distinguishable facet about Georgia, though, would have to be the Georgian language.
The language,
like
yeah.
Armenian, it's unlike any other in the world, standing on its own, not derived from any Indo-European or even
Oh,
Asiatic
crap.
language branch. The language is also written in the Georgian script.
I was
Technically,
gonna
they have three-
good thing I didn't said some ignorant dumb shit like, oh, they speak Russian in Georgia, which is I was gonna say that, but of course it's
alphabets,
it's
but
not
they only
true,
use one.
okay?
The alphabet has 33
So ignorant
letters,
about
no
me.
F sound, and a ton of strange, almost impossible to pronounce letters. For example, thank you to those geography peeps, you guys rock. Keep in mind though, there are other
Whoa.
Kartvelian minority
Whoa, all
languages,
right.
no letters, no Fs,
Should we
but
try to cut? No. To
Thank you to those geography
I don't
peeps, you
know,
guys
man.
rock. Keep in mind though, there are other Kartvelian minority languages spoken in Georgia as well, such as Magrelian and Svan in the west and partially in Abkhazia, as well as Laz in the south. Abkhazia and South Ossetia each have their own distinct languages and cultures that contrast with Georgia, although Georgians like to think that Abkhazians are basically just Georgians that speak a different language.
Rebellious
Abkhazian
Georgians.
people write in the Cyrillic alphabet, and the Ossetians are actually a Christian Iranian-based ethnic group that inhabit
Christian
the area. Keep in mind, I
Iranians.
said Iranian, not Persian.
Yeah.
Not all Iranians are Persians. Just keep
That-
in mind.
that's
Now, we don't really have
complicated, but
time
yeah.
to explain the
We used to speak Russian as our second language, but now less and less people speak it. Good, good. I guess there's a lot of countries that want to get away from their Soviet past. And I think it's good. Georgian culture should be promoted.
complete history, but basically all you have to know is that in the 3rd century BC, some dude named King Parnavaz of Kartli united all the Kartvelian speaking tribes in the Caucasus area, hence creating what was essentially the first proto-Georgian nation. From there you had Romans, Persians, Arabs, Turks, Golden Age, where they had women under the title of king, Mongols, Ottomans, Russians, and finally back to Georgia.
Yeah,
Dog, the funny
holy
thing is,
shit.
even
Talk
after two
about
millennia-
talk about a lot of empires, the Ottomans, the Russians, the Soviet Union, the Persian empires. It's
Many of
insane.
usurping empires, Georgia still maintained and held on to their own distinct identity, refusing to completely assimilate to any outside system. Christianity is the dominant religion, as about 84% of the population
Orthodox,
adheres
yeah.
to the Eastern Orthodox faith, 10% mostly being Muslim from the Azerbaijani population, and the remainder are mostly Armenian Apostolic or Roman Catholic.
Roman Catholic.
Christianity is kind of like a big deal here. Georgia became one of the first countries in the world to adopt Christianity, and as tradition holds, Jesus' disciple Andrew preached the gospel into ancient Scythia, which included the regions that Georgia lies in today.
The
Also, a lady named
Parthians, yeah.
Saint Nino converted the entire country. Culture-wise, Georgia is kind of
Basically, Abkhazians and Ossetians are different people who settled in those territories after Georgians did, and now they kicked us out of there after securing a majority. Abkhazians even did an ethnic cleansing
strange because
of
it's not quite European
240,000
and it's not
Georgians in
quite
Abkhazia.
It's its own thing. Georgian polyphonic singing is
Damn.
actually filed under UNESCO's intangible heritage list.
Mam shortgai gone nobody. Mam shortgai gone nobody.
All Georgians will tell you that Georgian traditional dance
I wanna
is
go to
something
Georgia.
they're proud of, fast, difficult, dynamic, and bold with a lot of leaping and pointing. Georgians are also known for being really into strength sports, even women. They love wrestling and weightlifting.
What does
and
that
judo.
mean,
They
dude?
typically
Even
compete
women?
well in these events at the Olympics. Konstantin Yanashia reaching some of the highest ranks in the world's strongest man competition. Speaking of which, the most notable Georgian in the world ever seen, although they might not
Yeah,
be
there's
proud of
a
it,
reason
would probably
only
be
5
Joseph
countries
Stalin,
recognize them,
although
yeah.
to be fair, he did spend a lot of his time in Russia being a Russian dictator, so
Yeah, I
Hospitality-
really wonder how Russians, sorry, Georgians feel about this. It's gonna, I don't know, I'm gonna say it's maybe like Austria and how that other German guy was from Austria.
Although to be fair,
But
he
I
did
don't know.
spend a lot of his time in Russia being a Russian dictator, so yeah. Hospitality is a huge deal out here. As the saying goes in Georgia, a guest is a gift from God. And granted, no matter who you
Oh,
are,
that's
they'll
nice.
pretty much just treat you to some khachpuri. And that's kind of how they are.
Yeah,
with
dude,
diplomacy,
that's-
mostly.
That looks delicious.
Explain.
I love bread and I love cheese, so hey.
In the simplest
Bring
way I
me
can
to
put this,
Georgia, man.
Georgia is like the Christian country with the most Muslim friends. It's weird because everything is like a high school drama with their neighbors. They get along well with Azerbaijan and Turkey. Trade and travel has been open for centuries. However, the memory of the Ottoman times still lingers ever so slightly. So they keep things at a flat, platonic, cordial level. Armenia kind of like
Yeah,
used
like,
to be
chill,
their best
bro.
friend, but then too many things happened and they kind of decided not to hang out as much. It first started in the 6th century with the Council of Chalcedon.
Older Georgians like Stalin, younger guys not so much. Okay, it makes sense. In Gori Stalin's hometown, he's revered basically.
In which they split
Whoa.
over secondary Christian doctrine issues. Armenia became
That's
Apostolic
funny.
Orthodox, similar to the Coptic, Syriac, Ethiopian branches. Whereas
Most Georgians
stayed
hate
Eastern
Stalin,
Orthodox, like the
but
Greeks,
there's a small
Serbians, and
following
Russians,
of his
and most of the
hometown.
Other Eastern European states. Also, keep in mind, Armenia favored Russia after all that drama with Abkhazia and South Ossetia, so that kind of split the divide a little bit more. Their best friends, though, would probably be the Ukraine and the Balkan countries like Latvia and Lithuania and Estonia.
Oh.
even though Estonia is kind of like too busy chatting it up with Finland. All these countries
Yeah,
have
of
had the
course.
same
Like
scenario
always,
of dealing
Estonia
with
is
some
always busy
kind
with
of
Finland.
form of aggression with Russia, and in a sense, bond over the shared calamity. However, there's a strange twist, because even though you would think Georgia's worst nightmare would be Russia, they kind of secretly still kind of a little bit maybe still have a soft spot for them. Each country
Just
has family
keep it
of
quiet.
their own residing in each side and loves to visit each other. Even though politically it looks bad, the general citizens of each country still love each other and look forward to each encounter. Huh, isn't it funny how the general populace of a country is not always directly represented by their government? Shocking. In conclusion, Georgia is an elaborately hidden, rustic yet modernized medieval domain locked away in the secret hidden mountains, caught between two worlds that it refuses to identify with its own vibrant heritage that has stood the test of
Yeah, dude, talk about bad luck or bad positioning. Well, you know it's bad when you're between the Ottoman Empire and the Soviet Union.
time.
That's a
on phone,
complicated
Especially
situation.
that melted cheese bread part. Stay tuned. The big guy, Germany, is coming up next.
The big guy, Germany. By the way, check out the flag episode. After this, we had some interesting flags along the years. Sure, let's do that. Not seriously. Who else wants as the lies of oh god, dude, I can't with the names. Fuck, I'm not gonna even attend it. Let's watch the flag episode, alright? Boom.
All right, Geography peeps, let's do this. Georgia, not Georgia. Georgia, not Georgia. Georgia, not Georgia. Got it? Great. All right. So, without further ado,
I don't really watch a lot of these flag episodes.
Sakat fellow, what a nice and pleasant fellow. Georgia is one of those countries where you can kind of tell that they took history kind of very seriously when it came to developing their national symbols. First of all, the flag of Georgia is sometimes called the five-cross flag because it kind of has 5 crosses on it. Made up of a white banner with the big red St. George cross. Keep in mind, this is the same saint that the flag of England is derived from, as St. George is considered to be the patron saint of the country. 4 other small red crosses occupy each quadrant that
It
the
does
big
look pretty
cross
cool.
divides, and are said by many to represent the 5 holy wounds of Christ. Now keep in mind, this flag was actually adopted in 2004. However, it was derived from the former Georgian kingdom flag, which enjoyed about 5 centuries of dominance in the Caucasus region. Otherwise, Georgia went through a series of flag switches, with monarchs changing things up every so often.
Ooh, I like
David
that
the
one.
Builder with his unicorn and Tamar with her golden age. Then the Russians came.
I also like that one.
This happened. Then after independence, they used this flag, but a lot of people didn't like it because it was kind of like the exact same flag that the Russians gave them back in 1918.
With
then
the
they
red
switched it up
banner.
and voila, today's flag was born. Now,
That
the
one
coat of
looks
arms has 2
much,
variants,
much
one
better.
complicated, one simple. We're going to cover the complicated one. Basically, the center blazon contains a red shield with an image of St. George riding
And
a horse, trampling a
dragon.
dragon. St. George stabs the dragon with a spear. Fun little side note for a future episode, if you zoom in really close, you'll notice
Malta.
that this is the exact same image that's portrayed on the small cross in the corner of the Maltese flag. Okay, moving on. Both sides of the shield are supported by golden lions with a royal crown of Georgia on the top, and a silver banner below, written in the modern Mkhedruli Georgian script, reading Zala Ertobashia, meaning strength is
Sala
now, keep in mind, of course,
Ertobashida?
during the years, they switched up their coat of arms many times as well. Of course, during the Soviet years, you could find the hammer and sickle images all over. And at one point, the Royal House
Communism,
had a
baby.
real complicated coat of arms that had things like a harp, a tunic of Jesus, an orb, and all these curtains and angels with swords. But we're not going to get into that. Essentially, what it comes down to is Georgia uses
Come
the
on,
St. George
get
cross, which
into
makes
that.
things easy. But then England kind of got in on that, so they just added more crosses. Thanks for watching. This has been Flag Friday. You've just been flagged. Stay cool, stay tuned.
Yo, was that it? Oh shit. That was actually super fast. I like some of the black and red
Monarchs
flags.
change-
I like this one a lot. The colors look incredibly great. I know, I'm into white and black. Let's see. I like another one that was like red and this one. This one I think looks cool. Of course, it's very simple, but I love the combination of the colors. The history behind the red banner is actually not true. We came up with ourselves in 1918 after declaring independence from the Russian Empire. Nowadays, it's associated with the 90s bad period. Huh. I guess it's very easy to get it mixed up with the Soviet banner, but that's a pretty cool history. That was great because I was thinking about doing a Geography Now episode, and I always love it when we have people from the same country. For example, when I did the Kroats episode on Turkey, and we had a lot of Turkish people in the chat, and it's always great when you have people that can give you context. England's flag before the cross